Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zikaron BaSalon with the lovely and amazing Sami Steigmann. He has been to Perlman for the past 3 or 4 years. He's planning to come back this summer. If you haven't gone to Perlman and are going this summer, please hang out with him. He is so fun. He's so cool.
Hopefully it happens.
Or Facebook message him. He's there. We request that y'all all turn on your cameras. Sami would really like to see your faces and be able to directly talk to you. And so now I will let Sami introduce himself and get started.
Well, how many of you do not know me? Oh, Jasmine. Okay, so you're the only one. So I'll tell you more about it. But before I'll tell you about me, I want to make a comparison between Passover that we just celebrated and the Yom HaShoah. By the way, just for you, Yom HaShoah is we remember the first Hebrew day of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. During Passover, we read from the Agadah. We are obligated every single year to read from it and to feel that we were liberated from Egypt. I think that the Holocaust, Yom HaShoah, should be done the same way. It should be celebrated every single year, which we do. But at the same time, this has to go from generation to generation. Because I want to tell you, if you are not going to tell the story, and it doesn't have to be somebody from your own family. You can learn somebody's story. Makes no difference whose. Tell the story and personalize it, what it means to you. Remember, if we don't keep telling it, within 50 years, this will be a footnote in history. So this has to be told all the time. There is another connection, and whether you know it or not, next week we are celebrating Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day. Memorial Day in Israel is different than in the United States. In Israel, it's not a day for picnic, a celebration, okay? In Israel, everybody knows somebody that lost somebody or they lost somebody from their own family. And the connection is, and I want you to understand, that in during the Holocaust, people died because we did not have a country. And Yom HaZikaron, we remember the people that died for us to have a country. So we have to have a very strong connection to the state of Israel. It's the only country that I have and where Jews can feel safe. And you also, in case if things are getting much worse, like it happened in France, people know that they have a place to go. Which is also I want to tell you is that Jewish people celebrate life. We are in Israel, we are the only country in the world that after Memorial Day, Yom HaZikaron, the next day, we celebrate the Independence Day. So we mourn, but not for a very long time, and life goes on, moves forward. Before I'll tell you more about me, let me tell you and give you the background of the Holocaust. Some of you may know it, you probably heard me, some of you may not. The Germans, the Nazis, when they came to power in 1933, they did not have a goal to murder the Jews. All they wanted is to have a Germany free of Jewish people called Judenfrei. In 1935, they came out with the Nuremberg laws and made it so difficult that a lot of Jews left Germany. Before the war, in Germany, there were between 600 and 800,000 Jews, At the beginning of the war in 1939, only 200,000 remained. A lot of them remained in Germany because the Jewish leaders told them, don't leave. This is the most enlightened country in the world. It cannot get any worse. Okay, now, when the war started in 1939, something interesting, and I want you to know the difference. Europe was occupied. Europe surrendered within 2 weeks. Poland was never occupied. Poland was annexed, which when you occupy something, they have certain rights. But when you annex it, then all the German laws will affect in Poland. It became part of the Greater Germany. So in Germany, they did not want Jews. And in Poland, they found 3.3 million Jews. That came the idea, it evolved, what do you do with them? The other thing is the Holocaust did not start when the Nazis came to power, did not start when the war started. It started in June 22nd, 1941, when the German army, Wehrmacht, attacked former Soviet Union. Behind them, there was a special group called Einsatzgruppen. Their job was to murder the subhumans. Germans considered the Russians subhuman and to murder the Jews. Together with their collaborators in Ukraine and Russia and all the other countries, they murdered 1.5 million Jews by bullets. But interestingly enough, okay, that was unofficial. The official Holocaust started on January 20, 1942, in a city that today belongs to Poland, to Berlin. Okay, 15 high-ranking Nazi criminals got together to decide the final solution to the Jewish question. Among them was one person. He was not a part of the people that decided the fate of the Jews, but he was the one that implemented it. And his name was Adolf Eichmann. Adolf Eichmann was kidnapped, was tried in Israel. I was there, okay? And one of the things that I want to tell you, I use Adolf Eichmann for you to understand the efficiency of the Germans and their collaborators being able in such a short time to murder 11 million people. Adolf Eichmann, by the end of the war in 1944, in 2 months, deported 437,000 Hungarian Jews to their deaths. The trial that was in Israel was shown all over the world for 3 months, 3 hours every single day. And that was the first time that the Holocaust survivors felt empowered not to feel guilty, ashamed, or victims. And it empowered them to start talking. Now let's go a little bit about myself. I belong to 2 generations. I am a Holocaust survivor. I was in a camp with my parents. And since all 3 of us survived, I'm also a child of Holocaust survivors. But I was very young. And I have no memories of that period of time. For me, it is a blessing in disguise because I don't have to relive those sorrows every single day. At the same time, okay, my parents did not talk. Okay, like I told you, until the Eichmann trial, they did not want to talk and they wanted the children to grow up a normal life. Only when I started to speak 12 years ago, did I realize for the first time that my childhood was not, quote unquote, a normal child. For 63 years, I felt I don't belong to either generations. Number one, I had no memory of that period of time. And I felt I don't belong to the children of the Holocaust survivors because most of them were born in the DP camps, the displacement camps. These were the camps after the war run by the Allies. Okay. Something happened in November 1st and November 2nd of 2003, and some of you probably will know. The Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. closed its doors to the general public for 2 days. It opened it up only to the Holocaust survivors, their children, and their liberators. There were over 8,000 people from all over the world. And at the table where I was sitting, I met a man born in the same city, been in the same camp, the same years, 1941, 1944. He was taken when I was 8 months old. I was taken when I was a year and a half. This is the difference between history and living history. By meeting him, I felt I belonged to both generations, and I decided to stop ignoring being a Holocaust survivor. In 2007, I joined the third largest Holocaust museum in the world, the one in New York. And in 2008, I had my first assignment to 6th graders. Okay, you will speak publicly. Some of you already have. And you, if you think well, look back, the first presentation is not the best. It's not the most complete. I did not have a story. I did not know that I can tell a story. And interestingly enough, I did not know what impact that would have. Again, meant to be, Bashir, they sent me thank you letters, each one better than the other. But one 6th grader changed my life forever. She wrote, P.S. Your story was overwhelming, and I promise I'll pass your story to my children. Because of her, I've decided to dedicate the rest of my life to reach as many young people as I can, nationally and internationally. The first memory of the war is not about the Holocaust. It's the war itself. And I had a nightmare. I was in the corner of a building, pitch dark. The only light that I saw and the only sound that I heard were from the explosions. For some reason, in my nightmare, I was naked, and and I felt I'm in a void. Although I lived in a loving family, that feeling lasted for a long time, and I always associate myself with older people, teenagers or adults. That made me feel protected. I don't have any memories associating myself with children my own age when I was in grammar school. How did I survive? Every survivor will use just one word: luck. There is no rhyme, there is no reason why somebody lived, somebody died. My luck was that I was never separated from my parents. My luck was that they did medical experiments on me. The side effects I still feel them today, but the pain, and that was constant, I still feel them all the time. But it was head, neck, shoulder, and back. Even the doctors did not believe me because I'm coming from a generation that was very stoic, and you cannot see it on my face even when I'm in pain. Interestingly enough, after they finished with the medical experiments, came a stage that I was dying of starvation, and a German woman, risking the life of her entire family, decided to give me milk. In Israel, there is a garden honoring the righteous among the nation, 27,000 non-Jewish people that saved Jews. I do not know the name of the person that saved my life, so I was extremely happy to see a market honoring the unknown righteous among the nations. I'm a motivational speaker because I did not survive only the Holocaust, but I survived many life challenges. I do not want you to feel sorry for me, but I wanted to learn from my experiences how I overcame that. Never to give up, never to lose hope. And I'll give you only two of them. In 1996, at age 86, I became homeless. I had no papers. I could not prove who I was and what I did in my life. I lived in a shelter. Today, I live in the most expensive city in the country, Manhattan, on a monthly income of $99, and I still smile. And I'll tell you how I overcame that, to remain a positive person with a positive outlook. The other challenge, I have a son. I have two grandchildren, and I cannot see them. And let me tell you a story which I never told before. Just before you at 3 o'clock, I spoke nationally to ZOA, Zionist Organization of America. I am part, okay, of their ZOA campus, going to universities. And guess who was in the audience? Somebody that knew me and that knows my son. I haven't seen her in ages. Her husband, he was part of the ZOA. I was part of that organization. And all of a sudden, I haven't seen her in ages since I left, okay, Milwaukee. I left Milwaukee in 1983. I haven't seen her for close to 40 years. And all of a sudden, she was there. So it was amazing. So you can see it's a small world. You can see what social media can do. I completely lost touch with her. Now, hopefully, she will reconnect with me. There are a lot of things that I can tell you, but how I will tell you just how I overcame that one. I overcame by volunteering. And that's what I want you to do. You will volunteer for something that you like, and trust me, you will get a lot more than what you put in. And later on, during the Q&A, I will give you the details, how I overcame. The other one is not being able to see my grandchildren. We all have a want and a need. My personal want is to go to Australia. If it happens, wonderful. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. But I have a need to teach and to share. And I cannot do it with my son, cannot do it with my grandchildren. So I had to find a substitute. A healthy one, but a substitute. And guess what? Whether you know it or not, talking to you, you are now my substitute grandchildren, because my need to teach and to share is fulfilled through you. So what I want to do right now, I think is the most important. Let me answer your questions. And by answering the questions, I will go into some other details. But I want to know what is important to you. And I want you to feel very comfortable to ask me any questions on any subject. By the way, before I forget, I am an Israeli also. I served in the Israeli Air Force in the 6-Day War. And I came to the United States in 1968.
We're proud of you, Sami.
Yes, Mitza. So, any questions? Come on. And if you don't have it right now, if you're thinking, okay, I believe that Sid has some questions.
I have some questions in case nobody has them at the moment for Sami, but if anyone has any burning questions right now, go ahead and unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask your question.
And don't be afraid. Ask any questions that you want, because you can see I'm very open. I told you that I'm talking with my grandchildren. What else do you want to do? You want, I'll tell you about my health. I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
I have a
question.
Oh, by the way,
I was
let me tell you something for you to understand how open I am. A sixth grader asked me if I have my own teeth. You should have seen the expression on the other students' faces. And I started laughing and I said, no, I have dentures. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Feel comfortable to ask me any question because I will answer it honestly. So don't be afraid. Okay, go ahead.
I was wondering how exactly like you paved your way from getting out of homelessness.
From where?
From being homeless. Like how did you build your way back up?
Are you talking, how come I'm still so positive today? How I overcame that?
No, like how did you go from being homeless to being able to live back in New York?
I see. By volunteering. And I'll give you 3 examples, and that's why I want all of you to volunteer. And I think most of you already do. But when I became homeless, I could not be in touch because I got involved with the wrong people. I could not be in touch with all my friends, the people that I knew. So I was all of a sudden, okay, bored. No papers, could not prove who I am. I could not be in touch with anybody. So I started to volunteer for 18 different organizations because each organization gave me something that was missing in my life. But I'll tell you about 2 of them. One of them is Big Apple Greeter. It still exists today, but last year I had to give it up because of my age. I have difficulty walking long distances, going in an incline, and going upstairs. But Big Apple Greeter is taking visitors from other states and other countries and showing them around the city that you love. And I spent, all I did is I spent a day with them, met people from all over the world, learned about different cultures, became friends with some of them. And today, if I would have the money, I can travel almost anywhere in the world and somebody will host me and show me the city they love. So you can see the perk. All I did is I showed the city that I love. The other organization was HAI. Unfortunately, does not exist anymore. The biggest problem, the biggest job, very difficult one, is for me to go and to pick up tickets and to distribute to underprivileged people like myself. I had 2 perks. Number 1, I could see the show. Number 2, I could be a nice guy. I could invite somebody to come with me and to see the show for free. Okay? That gave me the cultural need that I needed. Fulfilled my cultural need. I've seen Broadway shows more than you can think of. The sports events, even something that I would never watch on TV, I have no idea what's happening. But being live, it's exciting. World wrestling, okay? It's exciting when you go to Madison Square Garden. I've seen concerts, opera, ballet, anything that you can think of. Okay. Unfortunately, they went bankrupt and they don't exist anymore. And I did it, okay, until about 3 or 4 years ago. Okay. So that I'm giving you an example that you have benefits, greater benefits when you volunteer, because you will volunteer for something that you like. And you will get a lot more out of it. So please keep doing it. I'm sure that they're doing it now, and keep doing it, and it can fulfill whatever need, okay, you need to fulfill. Yes, what's the other question?
I have a question. Oh,
yes.
Which one?
Yes. Who has the
okay.
Okay, yes.
So my question is, what do you tell yourself when you're having a bad day? Or what helps you to keep going if you're having a bad day?
Well, some people have to work hard. In my particular case, it was very natural. All my life, I had a positive outlook in life. I always looked at the bright side of things. And it's a mental state that helped me overcome all of the challenges that I had in life. And one of the things I wanted to understand that what you think, that's what you will say. So if you think in a positive way, you will use positive words. Positive words will lead to a positive attitude, to positive experiences, and a happier life. A lot of people, you probably heard some older people that when they go through a trauma, they say, why me? I have never asked myself that question. I dealt with that issue for a day, 3 days, a week, but I did not dwell on it. After that, I concentrated, how do I go forward? What is next? So, okay, leave the past where it belongs, in the past. So that positive attitude that I had, some of you may have to acquire it. For me, it was a natural evolution. I can't explain it, but it was always there. I was always an optimist. Even my mother was wondering, where did I take that optimism from? And I think only about 3 years ago, I found a quote that expresses exactly how I feel. A pessimist sees in every opportunity a problem. Do not let anybody define who you are. If you have a goal and somebody will say you cannot do that, that doesn't mean that you cannot do it. It means that that person cannot do it. So don't let anybody define who you are. So again, I'm going to say a pessimist, a negative person, will see in every opportunity a problem. An optimist like me sees in every problem an opportunity. And I'll give you an example for you to understand. And some of you know already the story. When I was in the shelter, I was a very heavy smoker. I was a broken man. I did not want to live. But at the same time, I did not want to commit suicide. I tried it one time, but I did not want. So I smoked about between 3.5 packs a day. And here it is, a broken man, and I said, when I will quit smoking, cold turkey, suddenly, I will recover. I did not say I will try, I said I will. December 13th, 1996, I had my last cigarette. That also was a test for me to know if I want to live. So I want you to understand that the biggest strength that you have is also your biggest weakness. And let me explain something to you. I know a lot of survivors and a lot of people, they are very needy. I don't need anything. I live on my own, I lived alone, I don't need help. Strong, right? Wonderful. But it's also my weakness. Because by not sharing it, and now I can do it by talking to you, I can get it out of my system. But for many years, I kept it inside. And by keeping it inside and by not sharing it, by not telling it, that hurt me. So what I'm trying to tell you, whatever you go through, Do not keep it inside. Find a way, okay, to express it. Write about it. Talk to somebody. Write a song, whatever you want to do. But get it out of your system. Otherwise, it will hurt you. And I have a very simple suggestion for all of you, because even in the worst day, think of the worst day that you ever had. There was something good that happened in that day. So write down on a piece of paper every single day, one phrase, one sentence, something good that happened, something bad that happened. Every single day. And look at it 20 years later. And boy, will you be surprised where you were and where you are. Okay? And interestingly enough, okay, you will see how much you have grown. And don't regret anything that happened in your life. All the things that befell upon me, I don't regret them, because they made me a stronger person. I've learned for it. And today, I am where I am today. Don't regret anything that happened. Learn from it. Don't repeat the mistake. And learn one thing that, in my opinion, is very important. Do you know who is the most important person in your life? Benjamin, let me ask you. Who is the most, okay, yeah, Benjamin, who is the most important person in your life?
My parents.
Wrong. The most important person in your life is you. All of you have to think that way. I have been kind to other people. I forgave other people. I respected other people. I did things, except for one person, myself. Learn. Before you forgive somebody, forgive yourself. You made a mistake, so what? I made mistakes. I call them experience. I'm a man with a lot of experience. Guess what? I don't even remember what the mistake was. So learn to forgive yourself. So you made a mistake, learn from it, don't repeat it, and move forward. I've been kind to other people. Why couldn't I be kind to myself? I'm learning. When you are 80 years old, it's difficult to unlearn certain habits, okay? But I'm learning to be kind to myself, okay? I have not done it. I've given my shirt to other people, but God forbid that I would spend money on myself. I would spend it on everybody else, but what not on me? Am I not worth it? So I want you to think in the terms that you are the most important person in your life. Yes. Another one.
Does anyone else have any other questions for our pal here?
I have one. Hi,
Go ahead.
Sami.
Yes.
Hi, Warren. I'm Lara from Argentina. And, and you were saying about those phrases from like the good things or bad things from our days. And if I was wondering if you have to like represent yourself with just one phrase, what would it be?
In one place?
In one phrase.
Person? One person?
Like in one sentence, what would you describe yourself?
Wait a minute. Say it again.
Like
who would be the other person in my life that I would want to be with me?
No. You were saying about like how we have to write like a phrase of the good things that happen in our days and in like the bad things. And I was wondering if you have to describe like yourself, Sami, in just one phrase, what would that phrase be?
Ah, that phrase.
Yeah.
I'll give you my phrase. Before that, let me tell you something to make it a little bit light. I had a girlfriend. Would you believe that? And, okay, different people identify themselves by their profession or in different ways. The ex-girlfriend identified herself by her illness. So when she met one of my friends and she introduced herself, she used to say, "Hi, my name is Anita and I'm bipolar." Who cares? Nobody asked you what your disease is. But that's how she identified herself. That was her identity. I told you I went through a lot in life. That's not my identity. My motto in life is I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to be. And within my own means, I am finding the things that make me happy. So what I'm trying to tell you, each one of you has a choice. Each one of you. But you have to believe in yourselves. You have to be proud of who you are. You have to be proud to be Jewish, to love Israel, and never ever be afraid to speak up. The biggest problem that I'm finding in campuses, I don't know about high school, but in campuses, the biggest problem I'm finding is there too much apathy. And what I do not want you, I want you to be upstanders, not bystanders. All the tragedies in the world have happened because the world stood by and did nothing. They knew what's happening and they did not do anything. Okay, don't you ever be indifferent. Somebody said so, I believe it was Elie Wiesel, the biggest crime is not to murder somebody, it's to be indifferent. I may not say it in the exact words the way he said it, but don't you ever be indifferent to the plights of other people. Help other people, help yourself, and be good people. So that would be my motto. Hopefully when I pass away, maybe I'll ask to put that one on my grave. I'm not what happened to me, I am what I choose to be. And you have to make it every single day. You just made a choice. You're from Argentina. You made a choice to join. You had a choice not to join. But it makes a difference. So everything that you do will change the direction of your life. Every single decision. So do me a favor, choose wisely. Thank you, Lara. Very good question. Love it. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why do you want to go to Australia? Like, what is there something?
I don't know. I have been to China. I have been to Russia. I've been to different places. It's a different culture. Down under. Okay? And it's so vast, so wide. I mean, it's like flying for a whole day from one place to the other. In each region is totally different. It's a different culture, wherever you go. So if I would want to go to Australia, obviously I would not want to go for a week. I would want to go for at least a couple of months, maybe 3 months, to be able to walk around and to see things. But since I live under the poverty line, I have only $1,299. There is only one way that I can go. You know how it is? If somebody will invite me to speak in the school or the university, they will sponsor my trip. So will it happen? I have no idea. Is it the end of the world for me? No. But to share, okay, what I believe in, my mission to teach you to become, okay, better people, to prepare you for life, and to be upstanders, okay, that is my mission. And that I have to fulfill it, and I can fulfill it only by talking to students and talking to you, whether high school or whether in campuses. By the way, yeah, go ahead.
Are you one of the Holocaust survivors that usually volunteers with March of the Living each year?
No. In New York area, they used to have 5 buses that used to go to the March of the Living.
Mm-hmm.
In the whole tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, there is only 1 bus. Okay? And I was lucky. I'm not the only survivor, but I was lucky to be in the March of the Living, but with Shalhevet. You know Shalhevet?
Shalhevet High School?
No, Shalhevet, it's part of the BBYO. But it's
Oh, that's the one
and
to
I
my
went to
region.
Shalhevet with seniors, high school seniors from the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's where.
You know who Shalhevet is?
Yeah, I'm supposed to go on that trip next year.
Okay. So I went on the March of the Living. And do you know how it happened that I was invited? And this is what I'm trying to tell you. Take in everything that you do, there is an opportunity. And you don't even know it. I gave a tour because I volunteer at the Holocaust Museum here in New York. And I gave tours. And I don't remember to who I gave a tour. And it was Hanukkah, and I call it the Hanukkah gift. Somebody calls me from the Bay Area, and he says, "You probably don't remember me." And I said, to be honest with you, I have no idea. Because I see so many people and I don't know. He said, "You gave us a tour in January and mentioned that you've never been on the March of the Living." I don't remember ever talking about it, because I normally don't talk. And I said, yes, I would like to. He asked me if I would like to go, and I said, yes. And by giving the tour and being impressed the way I did it, he remembered me. He remembered what I said. It was towards the end of the year, Hanukkah. He remembered what I said in January. And he's from the Bay Area, from California. So remember, whatever you do, you have an impression on somebody. Remember one thing, I'm going to tell you something. And I know that you cannot repeat it, okay? When I am in person speaking to students, I ask them to repeat it. To the world, you may be one person. But remember, to one person, you are the world. We are always connected to somebody. So be nice to them and treat them the way you want to be treated. And you never know, laying the seeds, what will happen sometimes in the future. It may not happen right away. Like I give an example in my case. I just was myself. Didn't do anything special, nothing. I just gave the tour. But that person remembered me. And that's why I want you to do the things that you're passionate about. When you will decide to go to college, do not choose a profession that you will make a lot of money. Most of the kids will go for that. I would suggest to go for something that you're passionate about. And your entire life will be a game. It will not be work. Here it is. I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm 80 years old. Most of the people cannot do what I do. But I am giving today 6 presentations in one day. Why? Because I'm passionate about it. I love it. And I don't feel that I'm working. I don't feel, okay, the tension. It's something that I love. So whenever you decide to go, whatever profession you choose something. Think very hard. What are you really passionate about? Go for that. Yes. Anybody else? Okay, while they're thinking, Sid, you have some questions.
I got some questions for you. Where do you see the Jewish people in the next 100 years?
What?
Where do you see the Jewish people in the next 100 years?
I don't see them. I'll be dead.
Oh my gosh, Sami.
I want to say one thing. If the Jewish people are indestructible, we will be there. Okay, there is no question in my mind. But we have to do one thing, which is very important. We have to realize that we have one country, and we have to love that country. We have to fight for it. We have to be proud Jews. And we have to stand up to hatred, bigotry, and anti-Semitism. Do not allow it to fester. And I am looking at you, some other students have been, and I am totally convinced. I've heard a lot of people that say, I don't believe in this generation. This generation is gone. And I say that's not true. I'm looking at you, and I know, I have the faith that you will make it a better world for yourselves, your children and grandchildren. That is my firm belief. And there is no question in my mind. I've seen you in Dallas. A lot of them were there. I've seen you at Kala. I've seen you what you have done, what you've accomplished, and I know what you will be able to accomplish. You are our future. You are my future, my generation's future. And I know that my generation made a lot of mistakes, but we are leaving this imperfect world in good hands that will make a big difference. Okay. Another one.
Does anyone have any other questions for Sami?
Don't be afraid to ask anything.
I
No.
just wanted to say that you're really inspiring, and I'm really thankful for you to share your story with us.
I did not get it. Say it again.
That I'm really grateful for you to share your story with us.
A great story that I can share with you?
No. I am really grateful for you to share your story.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. And let me ask you a question, since you don't ask. And I hope that you will be a little bit more inquisitive. Remember when I told you that I have no memory of that period of time? Remember when I told you that my parents did not talk about it? How do I know that I was subjected to medical experiments? How come you didn't ask me that?
All right, question asked, answer.
Let me tell you how I knew. I told you that I was always, and even today, I have a face that will not show pain. Even when I'm in extreme pain, and if I'm in extreme pain, I will be by myself. But you will not see it on my face. My parents never knew that I'm in pain. And I think, about in the 30s. And my parents came to visit me. And they went out for a short walk, and I did not expect them to come back that early. And it was one of those days that I was in absolute excruciating pain. I was on the floor, almost unable to move. My father never knew that I was in pain. He was so shocked to see me in such excruciating pain that inadvertently, he did not plan to do it. He decided to tell me that I was subjected to medical experiments. It did not help me with my pain, but it did something else. It gave me the courage to ask for compensation from the German government. And even in the United States, nobody will pay you a dime unless you know what's happened to you, you have documents, or you have witnesses. And guess what? When I applied, I had strike one, I had no idea what was done to me. Strike two, it was in 2002 when I was homeless and I had no documents. And in 2002, everybody, including my parents, were gone. So I did not expect for them to answer me. So I did it just for myself to know I applied and forget. That was on February 8, 2002. To my surprise, on January 26, 2004, I got a letter from the German government. And in the letter, there were two things: acknowledging that I was a victim of Holocaust, of medical experiments. And I'll tell you based on what it was, because it was not based on what I wrote. And the other thing is, they paid me money. One single payment of 2,500 German marks. And the Germans, if they could get away with it, did not want to pay. So they have some records. I don't know if they still have them, because they destroyed a lot of them, and I'm not interested in finding out. Because I'm more interested in being positive and doing something, positive, instead of wasting my time, energy, and something that will not accomplish anything. But how did they know? It was not done based on what I wrote. It was done based on their records. And I want you to understand something. The Holocaust is the biggest crime in human history, and the one that is the most recorded. They destroyed a lot of the records. Without the few records that we have today, we would not know even 10% of what you know. Another thing that may surprise you, when people talk about 6 million Jews, I don't know about you, but to me, it's a number. Stalin said something very interesting. One death is a tragedy. 1 million is a statistic. So when we talk about 6 million, we cannot visualize. But imagine yourself, I'm standing right now, and I'm going to be silent for 1 minute for each victim of the Holocaust. Do you know that I would have to be silent and stay on my feet for 11.5 years? That gives you a perspective what 6 million means. Imagine yourself, and I'm sure that most of you have gone to a stadium, and I think the smallest stadium has a capacity of 50,000 people. Imagine yourself that all the people that are on the stadium, 50,000 people, are murdered every single day. Every single day. So we have to bring it to a common denominator. So stop talking about the 6 million and bring it to something that we can relate to. 6 million is just, to me, is just a number. One of the most shocking things to me is when I read in 2013 an article in New York Times. Do you know how many different type of camps the Nazis and their collaborators had? 42,500. Now, not every camp was barbed wire. If they were in a town and they brought in all the Jews in the plaza and they murdered them, that is considered a camp. But can you imagine 6 million? You cannot visualize, but you can visualize 150 people. Multiply 150 times 42,000 and you have 6 million murders. So we have to bring it to a common denominator so we can relate to some of the numbers that we are saying. And you can listen to any survivor. Nobody can tell you what it was being in those camps. We cannot visualize it, we cannot understand it. I cannot understand it. You had to be there. And people that had faith, a lot of them survived. People that had no faith, a lot of them committed suicide because the condition was so bad. I'll give you an example in a labor camp. That was the easiest one from all of the camps that existed. And I don't like to generalize, but I'll give you an example, one example in one camp. For breakfast, they gave you a slice of bread. That was your breakfast, and you had to work for a half a day. For lunch, they gave you another slice of bread, and you had to work for the rest of the day. And in the evening, they gave you soup. But it's not the soup that we are used to. It was mostly water and salt. The salt makes you more thirsty. So people that were in the camps had only one thing in their mind. You'll be surprised. How do we survive? That was the only thing in their mind. There was nothing else. It was only survival. Any other questions? But I want you to know, I don't want you to feel sad. I don't want you to come away because that is not my goal. When I talk about the Holocaust, is we have to learn the lessons that we can learn from the Holocaust and to make sure that it will not happen again. Okay? So I don't talk, I just give you an example, you know, one of the things, but I don't talk about the horrors because that's not my goal. My goal is for you to learn the lessons and to become, you know, upstanders and to make sure that you will stand up to injustice and stand up to lies. When somebody tells a lie, tell them it's not true. People are saying, have you ever heard that people are saying that Holocaust is happening in the world? I heard some people saying that. And that's a lie. Okay? There is no Holocaust happening in the world. There's the difference between genocide, the murder of a group of people, murder, side. No, genocide is group, side, murder. It's the murder of a group. Holocaust is the annihilation of a group of people. There is no group of people slated to be completely annihilated from the face of the earth. So I want you to understand it. I want you to understand, for instance, since I'm an Israeli, Israel is the rebirth of our homeland. You will hear people that say that we are occupied. If you are using the word, okay, rebirth, and like Greeks are coming from Greece, Jews are coming from Judea. We should use the word Judea and Samaria. That identifies that as our homeland. And if you identify it as your own homeland, you cannot occupy it. And we should not use the word West Bank. Okay, that's my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But we should use the word disputed territories. Okay, Judea and Samaria in disputed territories. And when you use disputed territories, that leads to a dialogue and not a conflict. And the biggest problem that we have in the United States is the fact that people have forgotten how to disagree in a civil way. Take a look what's happening in the country and how people treat each other, calling them names, calling them, blaming everybody, everybody's fault. Nobody takes responsibility. Be responsible for your own actions. And once you're responsible for your own action, you don't have the need to blame anybody or circumstances. People stole money from me. I am not bitter and I'm not angry at them. Because these were people that I trusted with my life. I gave them cash. You cannot prove it. I did not put anything in writing. So I took responsibility that I made a mistake. I trusted them too much. I did not take the proper precautions. And guess what? I said, they are not guilty. They took advantage of my stupidity. And once I took responsibility that I made a mistake, I don't have the need to blame them. I don't need to blame circumstances. And I can move forward and be a happy person. So learn, if you made a mistake, take responsibility for it, learn, and move forward. Don't be stuck in the past.
All right, Sami, I got a question for you, sir.
Yes.
What is your favorite thing about being Jewish?
Nobody asked me that question. It's a very good one. It's the core value, because I grew up the Orthodox way, and there are certain core values. And those core values were instilled in me, did not allow me to stray, to go the wrong way. I was grounded. I had very strong core values. Now, I'll give you an example to understand what I'm talking about. I lived in Romania, in a communist country. And a friend of mine, he decided to have an armed, revolution against the government. He asked me if I would want to be his right-hand man. And I said, as much as I identify with your goal, my country is Israel. He knew that I'm Jewish and he respected me. Eventually, they got caught. And they were tortured. If he would have said my name, I wouldn't be here. He never betrayed me. But I had the core values, and he knew that when I said that my country is Israel, he knew what I meant. He believed me, he trusted me. So you have to have very strong core values. It's a personal example that very seldom do I talk about it, but it's something that it's very important to me. My first betrayal was here in the United States. My friends that made me homeless. But indirectly, I thank them, because if I would have not been homeless, I wouldn't be what I am today. And today I've achieved more than I ever thought that I would ever achieve in life. You never know where life takes you. So do the best you can and don't stray. You have a goal, you have a direction, follow it and follow your instincts. Your instincts will guide you. Trust them. When I trusted my instincts, I did not make mistakes. When I did not follow my instincts, that's when I made mistakes. You can smile, okay? Don't be so morbid. Smile. It's just a lesson. It's just a learning about life lessons. I'm not trying to make you feel sad and comfortable.
I believe Ben has a question.
Okay. You can see that I'm smiling. Take a look what I went through. And I'm still smiling. You can smile with me. Go ahead.
So, Sami, what was your favorite part about speaking at Kala?
About what?
Speaking at Kala.
If I liked what?
What was your favorite part about speaking this summer at Kala?
Ah. What do you think?
Getting to tell all of us your story around the promontory.
Not the story. This story was part of it. But meeting you, knowing you, that's what's the best part of it. And seeing what you have accomplished and what you will accomplish, it make me feel, okay, that my generation, our goal, okay, how the torch will be carried forward by you and by your children and grandchildren. That's what is the most important thing, the Kala. Telling my story is very important, but meeting you, each one individually, and knowing you, that's what's important. Yes, Sid, you had a question.
I can well, does anybody else have any questions before I ask mine? All right, I will ask mine.
Okay, well, let me ask them a question.
Alrighty.
I'm surprised. Nobody asked me how come I cannot be in touch with my grandchildren.
Why can't you be in touch with your grandchildren? There we go.
Nobody curious?
I just asked you, why can't you be in touch with your grandchildren?
Okay. How many of you have heard of something called bitter divorce? So what happened is, my ex would have never stopped fighting with me, and in the process using my son. So I have decided to give up my rights and to go back to Israel, because I felt, and that's when I filed for divorce, I put in the papers when I went to the court, it's better for a kid to be with one crazy parent than being caught between two fighting parents. I haven't seen my son for a very, very long time. I finally got reunited with him here in New York, and I saw my grandchildren one time. And this is something that was really absolutely surprising for me. He is exactly his mother. That did not surprise him because he lived with her. He's exactly like his mother. But what surprised me, that he had all my likes and dislikes. So this is what I want to tell you something. Your parents will put some restrictions on you. And there will be times that you don't like them. I had the same feelings. All of us go through it. But remember one thing. Whether you like it or not, you have the genes of both of your parents. And nobody in your entire life will love you more at your own parents. They are willing to give their lives for you. You may not like them, but love them, because they are willing to give their lives for you. And that was to me a revelation. For instance, there were certain things that my father did, and I did not like it. And guess what? I find myself from time to time that I'm doing exactly the same thing, and I'm starting to laugh. Okay? So, what can I tell you? Yes.
All right, I think I'll ask you one more question, and then if there's no other questions, we can break the session and go on our way. Does that sound good? Does that sound good?
Well, it's up to you.
You can't put this pressure on me, Sami.
Do you have any questions that people wrote?
I think it was open to anyone who wanted to ask right now.
Okay.
All right, does anyone have any questions right now to ask?
Okay. All I want to tell you that to me, you are my substitute grandchildren. I want you to know that, and I want you that I love all of you. Okay? I wish I could give you a hug, a big one. Unfortunately, I can't. When things return to normal, I don't know if we will be able to do that. I have no idea. But I wanted to see, for instance, to understand something, what it means, a positive attitude. I'm alone. I lost my interest in reading books or something, and there's nothing on TV that I like. And the news, I don't want to hear it. Nobody's visiting me. I'm all alone. I've been cooped up in this apartment for a whole month. I went out in a month for 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, 3 times. Because of my age, I have to be in this apartment for at least another month. It's so easy to go crazy. But I have one goal, what I'm looking forward. And it's not something major. It's a simple thing, which I told you before. When things are normal, to be able to hug you and to hug my friends that I haven't seen for such a long time. So you don't have to have big things to keep you happy and to look forward to something. But always look forward to something that will keep you going. And am I alone? Yes. Am I lonely? No. Am I depressed? No. It's a mental state. Let me, wait a minute, hold on a second. Can you see it? I'll read it to you. It's something that I made up for myself. Okay? How did I become a free man? And when I'm talking a free man, it's here. I journeyed from trauma to triumph. I triumphed because of my mindset, my way of being, and the special way of viewing myself. Some may call us being a hero. I am not. I am a success, not financially, because the worst brought out the best in me. I achieved my wisdom and confidence by accumulating personal and social habits. I escaped the prison of my own mind because I accepted the past. I let go of the past and I took responsibility for my actions and mistakes. I decided to forgive myself. I decided to be kind to myself, and I stopped blaming others or circumstances for my predicaments. I have a choice to react to any given situation in a positive manner. I am in control. So although I'm caught in this particular situation, the reason that I'm not lonely, the reason I'm not depressed, is because it's my choice to be in control and to be happy, to accept those are the circumstances and to make the best of it. And that's what it means to be free. We are all prisoners of our own mind. I'm going to suggest to you to read a book that basically says exactly what I'm telling you in a different way. It's a Holocaust survivor. I believe she's a psychologist. She tells her story, and she tells how she became free of being a prisoner of her mind. The name of the book is The Choice. The name of the author, I don't know if you heard about it, is Eva Eger. I read the book and it surprised me. It's basically she is saying, without knowing each other, exactly what I'm saying in a different way. So that would be something, if you want, okay, to do something, that would be a good book that I would recommend for you. So if nobody has any questions, I want to thank you for being attentive, for being interested, for asking some very good questions. And I want you to know that I believe in you, and I want you to believe in yourselves. And thank you for being you.
Thank you for joining, Sami.
Don't
Thank
try
you,
to
Sami,
imitate
so
anybody.
much.
Always
Thank
be
you,
you.
Sami.
You are awesome and you are so sweet. And to all of you, you can easily host a Zikaron BaSalon program in your own communities whenever.
I need somebody from everybody.
Yes.
Come on, give me a smile. That's it. Okay, don't go away from this one, you know, in a bad mood. Give me a smile, be happy. You've learned something, okay? Okay, it's going to empower you to become better people, okay? It's going to empower you to make the right choices, to follow your dreams, to follow your instincts, and to follow your own path. Don't let anybody stray you from what you are and what you want to be. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sami.
Sami.
Mwah.
Bye,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sami.